Sorry about no video last week, guys. My butt tried to kill me again, and I ended up in the hospital for emergency surgery to fix a fistula, drain a massive abscess. That's not what I'm here to talk about this week. Just explaining why no production values this week. I can't really sit, pretty heavily medicated, but what I'm here to talk about is that I had the first appointment with my new sleep doctor. I fired my old sleep doctor. My primary care physician got me a new one, and holy moly, what a difference. Um, yeah, come on, we'll dig into it. So I know I've talked a bit about this in the past, so sorry for being redundant, but it's all sort of relevant. I was diagnosed with obstructive sleep apnea in late January of this year. Um, because my gastroenterologist during a colonoscopy said that my sleep apnea was incredibly severe, some of the worst he'd ever seen. My PCP tried to get me into a very well-regarded pulmonologist here in Montgomery, but they were like 3 months out. So she sent me to another sleep doctor that she didn't really have much experience with, but that could get me in that week, which in the end was a good thing because they got me on CPAP like a week later. Here's the thing, though. I really had no experience with any sleep doctor. I went in for my sleep study. The polysomnographic technologist was amazing. But then like somebody called me on the phone and said, hey, you need a CPAP, come to this address, pick it up. Bye, you know. So fast forward to June of this year, I happened to have an appointment with my primary care physician 2 days after the Philips recall was announced. And I asked her, like, dude, what do I do? What do I do? And she said, well, have you talked to your sleep doctor? I was like, who's my sleep doctor? She said a name to me, and it was like, I've never heard that name in my life. And she was like, well, who did you go to for your 4-week follow-up? And I was like, I didn't know anything about a 4-week follow-up. And she was like, dude, it's right here on the bottom of your sleep study. I was like, I've never seen a sleep study. So she made an appointment a few weeks later. I think I've talked about that appointment. It did not go great. The biggest red flags for me were it was pretty apparent that my sleep doctor was on the take with Philips. They had Philips advertisements in the waiting room. I talked to them at the time about, I kind of want to go get a ResMed, and oh, ResMed's terrible. It's just terrible. Those machines are awful. The therapy's bad. They break all the time. Oh, you don't want a ResMed. No. And absolutely refused to do anything to help me get a new machine. Even like going so far as to refuse to write me a clean, non-branded prescription, which I got to use to buy a machine out of pocket. So, as I've said in other videos, I just went out and purchased a broken and used AirSense 10, refurbished it myself. I'll link to the video in the description below. She didn't like that either. She didn't like the fact that I was wearing nasal pillows instead of a full face mask. She said, you're not supposed to breathe out of your mouth or out of your nose, It was just a bunch of red flags. But the biggest problem for me, the biggest concern was when I was starting to go over my Oscar data. I can't remember if this is the sleep doctor or the nurse, but one of them was like, how are you getting this information? How you're not supposed to be able to access that data? It was all very, ooh, this is improper. No. What is this? This is bad. I don't want to ask any very specific questions. I sort of got gaslit. Like, oh, you're trying to make this perfect, and there's no perfect, whatever. So I went back to my primary care physician. I was like, Murphy, you're my sleep doctor until you get me a real one. Well, this week she got me a real one. And I had my first appointment with my new pulmonologist today, and it was night and day difference. He was so helpful answering my questions that I had. also looked over at my complete history from Oscar, and sort of looking at it like, where are you getting this information? And I thought, oh God, here we go again. But for him, it wasn't, where are you getting this information? You're not supposed to have this information. For him, it was like, where are you getting this information? This is amazing. So I told him about Oscar and all of that, and he seemed really intrigued. And he did say at one point, he was like, look, like, number one, we just don't have the time to spend with patients to dial in their therapy as well as you dialed in yours. For another thing, I don't think most people would understand Oscar. It's very complicated. But he said, for someone like you, he's talking about me, who can understand this stuff and knows what all of these numbers mean and all of these graphs mean and have the ability and understanding to make slight tweaks. He was like, this is an incredible tool. He's like, keep doing it. If you need to make any changes, make any changes. If you need my help, you know where to get me. In the meantime, yeah, let me know if you need a new machine. So, I mean, this is part me just sharing my own personal journey, but partly to say, if you're new to this, if you think you have sleep apnea and you go to a sleep doctor and you have warning signs, listen to them. I know we all of us YouTubers who talk about CPAP joke about the fact that the doctors aren't helping us, DMEs aren't helping us, what have you, but I live in Montgomery, Alabama, and I just found an amazing sleep doctor. So it's proof that they're out there. This guy seems to view himself as a partner alongside me in my therapy, not an authority figure to sort of, issue edicts and control everything, which is incredible. So, yeah, I have a follow-up appointment with him in a year. Hopefully I don't need to see him before then. But the point is, do your homework. Do your homework if you're looking for a sleep doctor. Number one recommendation for me, look for a pulmonologist. I know some of them are neurologists, whatever. My old sleep doctor was an ENT. Nothing against ENTs. I've had some amazing experience with ENTs, but I don't really want one as my sleep doctor, Find a good pulmonologist or a neurologist if necessary. Do your homework, read Google reviews, talk to people in the area who've been to the doctors. Today is proof good sleep doctors do exist. So, yeah, anyway, as I said, I'm a little unwell right now. I can't sit. I'm on Percocet, which you can probably tell. I do have some pretty cool videos lined up. I'm going to be talking about ResMed 24-volt operation, why that's a thing. I'm going to be talking about face masks. How long are they supposed to last? That's a pretty common question. Another big thing, and this is something I talked about my sleep doctor today, is I've been very concerned that my heart rate is getting super low in my sleep. And looking over a lot of the Facebook groups, a lot of people are having the same concern. They're monitoring their heart rate in their sleep and it's getting way low. Mine's getting down to 45. That's super low. My new doctor was like, well, we would kind of need to see that in the context of everything else to really understand what's going on. Maybe we need to send you home with a pulse ox that can monitor this and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, dude, I got all that in Oscar. Like, look, I pull my pulse ox data in with every night's therapy. Look, he was like, this is just incredible. Anyway, he looked at it and he was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, I'm going to be doing a topic about that. I've got some stuff coming up, but I'm going to be slow. So in the meantime, I wanted to recommend, a great Facebook group that I'm a part of, called CPAP Reviews. It's run by Nick. You guys know Nick, the YouTube channel CPAP Reviews. Great community, really amazing admins and moderators. Shout out to Renee. Shout out to Kathleen. Shout out to Nick as well. Some of the Facebook groups are kind of the Wild West, and they're a little bit mean. This is a really groovy bunch of people. They're really helpful. So if you're struggling with anything and want a good discussion, come to CPAP Reviews group. on Facebook, and I'll see you there. Until next time.